There is a lot to like in Darling in the FranXX. Let's start with the setting. The whole world of this anime, in fact this whole anime is inspired by Evangelion. Post-apocalyptic setting, giant monster enemies, robots that have to be piloted by children, enemies that are exactly the same or similar to the robots that the children pilot, and the pressure that the fate of the world depends on our heroes. The design and the feel of the world really has that Evangelion vibe. But Darling in the FranXX steps out of the Evangelion formula and it focuses more on the slice of life aspect. Aside from action and mecha battles, stories and relationships between the characters are the main focus, and they definitely keep you watching. And of course the sexual metaphors, the way they actually pilot their mechas, also the journey of our teenage characters as they slowly learn about their sexuality and the concept of love, the concept that was deliberately hidden from them, and of course the population explosion at the end of the anime when all of the characters suddenly realize what sex really is and what it is used for after so many years. This anime deviates from Evangelion in many ways. Even the bow ties that the pilots wear are a sexual innuendo, as in X for the girls and Y for the boys. The main characters, 0, 2, and Hero, are interesting and well developed, but we can safely say that everyone from the cast of this anime is a bit of a main character. Every single character has a good development to the point that they even outshine the main couple. In general, a pretty interesting and original premise for a mecha, especially with its love and sexual elements that are crucial to the piloting of the robots, something I didn't really expect when I started watching. So one of our favorite moments is when the main couple actually meets for the first time. What happens when a young boy sees a beautiful naked woman for the first time in his life? Darling in the FranXX anime happens. The meeting of 0, 2, and Hero is comical, cute, and a bit touching. The anime introduces us to the main metaphor of the whole show, which is the one-winged bird that cannot possibly fly until it finds its perfect mate. Truly a beautiful metaphor for love, 10 out of 10. But what does their first encounter actually symbolize? Well, I have two theories. The first one is more obvious, and that is the beautiful feeling that future lovers get when they first meet each other. Also, it can represent the feeling when a person for the first time in their life truly feels emotions like this. Their strength, their intensity, and how hard it is to understand them and show them in the right way. In short, mami klapin tape. If you like Darling in the FranXX, Google this word. I guarantee you will love this word as well. The second theory is connected to the fact that Hero just ended a long-term relationship. We actually see him as he breaks up with his previous pilot partner. After an experience like that, it is completely understandable for a person to reevaluate their life, their emotions, their goal, and their purpose, which is, in the case of this anime, literally the purpose of their whole lives, to have a partner and to pilot a robot. Life after the breakup is always hard, both emotionally and psychologically. When 0, 2, and Hero meet for the first time might represent the feeling that we get when we meet a new person in our life, and we feel like we could love them. And in that person we can see a new beginning, a new life, and a new hope. And most of all, a new purpose in life. Very beautiful and deep, and we are not even halfway through the first episode yet. The second moment I really liked is their escape when they were very young. Hero, when he was very young, finds out that they keep a strange little girl in isolation, and he decides to save her. He breaks the window open, takes her, and runs away into the world. This is how anime shows us that those two were destined to be together, and it shows us how Hero became the ideal darling for 0, 2. But metaphorically, something much more interesting is shown here. And that is how it feels to fall in love for the first time. They feel brave and capable enough to run away into a cruel and unknown world, into a cold, cold winter, without any fear or thinking about the future or the consequences. All they think about is how to be together. Furthermore, they definitely do not speak the same language. 02 can barely say anything, but they can still communicate, even though they are two completely different worlds. Similarly to how men and women are two completely different worlds. And yet, they still understand each other through the language barrier, without any issues. And they share a lot of complex thoughts and emotions, despite the language barrier, just like two young people who fell in love for the first time. Truly beautiful in its own way. The next moment worth noting is when they pilot together for the first time. After 02 ejects the previous bastard from the cockpit, she is wounded and bloody, and yet still decides to continue piloting. Luckily, Hiro is there, and he offers himself and later begs 02 for her to let him pilot together, even though it could cost him his life. Now there's an obvious joke that a guy would gladly risk his life for a quick ride with a beautiful woman. But this joke aside, this scene is a metaphor for first sexual experiences. Starting with the idea that he begs her to pilot so that he could continue having a purpose in his life. In the show, his purpose is literally to pilot the robot, and metaphorically in life, purpose of every living being is to have sex and have children. Furthermore, the fireworks that explode in his eyes when they kiss for the first time, which is his first kiss ever, by the way, is a beautiful little detail. So 02 takes him by the hand, drags him inside the cockpit, and turns his whole life upside down as he becomes her darling. Luckily for him, in the end we see that this was not a mistake on Hiro's part, and that this was his destiny all along. Now, what was the destiny of all those previous pilots who died while piloting 02 before Hiro got the chance? We're not interested in that. Those pilots were not the main character. And the last beautiful moment I want to share with you is the very end of the anime. At the end of the show, after the whole gang goes into space in order to rescue 02, and after Hiro becomes one with Strelitzia and with 02, they defeat the horrible alien threat and they die. A couple truly in love who dies at the end. Really resembles Romeo and Juliet type of ending. Aside from that, this whole segment where they drift away farther and farther away from their friends and the world they have previously known is a metaphor for long-term relationships, marriage, and living together until death do us part. Once when they finally truly become one, they find themselves drifting away further from their friends and from their previous life. And this type of thing almost always happens in real life too, after people get married and stuff. An especially interesting detail is that they would not succeed in their mission if they had no help from their friends. In the show, it was symbolically depicted when their friends prayed for them and gave them strength in that way. In real life, this would be the help of friends and family to keep your relationship or marriage together, which is maybe much too idealistic of a metaphor, but still this is an anime talking about love, so we can let this slide. This is to be expected in this context. After 02 and Hiro die, their souls travel home together, and they promise each other that they will meet once again, one day for sure, because true love is always written in destiny. And the show implies that they do meet in the future, under the tree they have planted so many years before. Once again, truly touching, emotional, and beautifully done. In conclusion, I have to say, you can't afford to miss this anime. It is emotionally deep on so many levels. It has really good action scenes and is overall a beautiful slice of life. It is rare to find something so beautifully put together. If you like Darling in the FranXX, definitely make sure to check out Shinsekai Yori and Bokurano. It is almost guaranteed that these two animes will be right up your alley. Those were our favorite moments in Darling in the FranXX Explained. What were your favorite moments? Please share them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on social networks. Make sure to check out other videos on our channel. That's it for this video. Bye bye.